Michael Chen rubbed his eyes and stared at the spreadsheet on his computer screen. The numbers were starting to blur together after 14 hours of work. Outside his office window, the city lights twinkled as evening settled in. He glanced at his watch and winced. 8:45 p.m. He'd missed dinner with his daughter again. With a heavy sigh, he shut his laptop and gathered his things. The office was nearly empty except for a few dedicated employees who nodded as he passed. Being CEO of Tech Future meant carrying the weight of 300 employees on his shoulders, but lately, it felt like he was failing the most important person in his life, 11-year-old Lily. His driver was waiting outside, scrolling through his phone in the black sedan that had become Michael's second home during rush hour. "Home, Mr. Chen?" Tom asked, already knowing the answer. "Yes, and can we stop by that bakery Lily likes? The one with the red velvet cupcakes?" Tom nodded, pulling into traffic. "Trying to make up for missing dinner?" Michael smiled weakly. "Is it that obvious? I've got 2 teenagers. Cupcakes help, but they're not magic." 20 minutes later, Michael walked through his front door holding a pink bakery box. The penthouse apartment was quiet except for the sound of Mrs. Wu, their housekeeper, washing dishes in the kitchen. "You're still here?" Michael asked, setting down his briefcase. Mrs. Wu dried her hands on a towel. "Lily wanted to wait up for you. She finally went to bed about 30 minutes ago." Guilt pressed on Michael's chest like a weight. "How was she today?" "Quiet after school. She practiced those piano scales on the coffee table again." Mrs. Wu tapped her fingers on the counter, mimicking Lily's makeshift piano practice. "She really wants those lessons, Mr. Chen." Michael nodded, remembering Lily's birthday wish from 3 months ago. He'd promised to arrange piano lessons, but between the company's expansion and everyday parenting challenges, he'd failed to follow through. "I'll take care of it tomorrow," he promised, more to himself than to Mrs. Wu. After Mrs. Wu left, Michael quietly opened Lily's bedroom door. His daughter was curled up under her galaxy-patterned comforter, dark hair spilling across the pillow. On her nightstand sat a framed photo of her mother, Wei Lin, taken a year before the car accident that had left Michael a single father. 3 years had passed, but sometimes the grief still felt fresh. He placed a cupcake next to the photo and kissed Lily's forehead before retreating to his home office. Morning arrived with the usual rush. Michael woke to Lily poking his shoulder. "Dad, you're going to be late for your meeting and I can't find my science project." Michael squinted at his phone. 7:30 a.m. He'd overslept. "Your project is on the dining table where you left it," he said, stumbling out of bed. "And thanks for the wake-up call, kiddo." Lily stood in his doorway, already dressed in her school uniform, arms crossed. "You left me a cupcake. Peace offering." "It was good," she admitted. "But I'd rather have dinner with you than dessert without you." The honest comment stung more than any client criticism ever had. "I know, Lilybug. Things will calm down soon." He ruffled her hair as he passed, heading for the shower. "Oh, and I'm going to arrange those piano lessons today. For real this time." Lily's face lit up. "Really? You promise?" "Cross my heart." Michael made the gesture over his chest, earning a smile from his daughter. By 8:15 a.m., they were both out the door. Lily to her private school with the driver, and Michael to his first of 7 meetings. As his car inched through traffic, he called his assistant. "Morning, Rita. Can you find a piano teacher for Lily? Someone really good? Maybe from that music academy near the Symphony? Berkeley School of Music?" "They're quite selective," Rita replied. "What days work best?" "Afternoons after school. Maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays. And they need to come to our place. I can't drive her to lessons with my schedule." "I'll handle it," Rita assured him. "Also, the board meeting got moved up to 9:30, and your lunch with investors is now brunch." Michael groaned. Another day of back-to-back meetings meant he'd have to squeeze in actual work after hours, cutting into his time with Lily again. The day passed in a blur of presentations, conference calls, and crisis management. By the time Michael stumbled home at 7:30 p.m., his brain felt like mush. This time he'd made it for dinner, though just barely. He found Lily at the dining table with Mrs. Wu picking at her broccoli. "Dad." She jumped up and hugged him. "Mrs. Wu made your favorite, orange chicken." "I see that." He kissed the top of her head. "Sorry I'm late, but you're here," Lily said, as if that was all that mattered. And maybe it was. During dinner, Lily chattered about school, her best friend's new puppy, and her science project on the solar system. Michael tried to focus despite the emails vibrating in his pocket. Did you get me a piano teacher? Lily asked between bites. Rita's working on it. Should be all set soon. Later that night, after tucking Lily in, Michael checked his emails and found one from Rita. Found a highly recommended music teacher. Elena Santos can start lessons this Thursday at 4:30 p.m. I've attached her credentials and confirmed payment details. She'll come to your apartment as requested. Michael replied with a quick thanks before collapsing into bed. Grateful to cross one thing off his endless to-do list. Thursday arrived, and Michael surprised himself by leaving the office early enough to be home for Lily's first music lesson. He wanted to see her excitement and make sure the teacher was a good fit. He was reviewing documents at the dining table when the doorbell rang at 4:25 p.m. Lily raced from her room. "They're here. They're here," she squealed, bouncing on her toes. Michael opened the door to find a woman about his age with curly dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore jeans, a simple blue blouse, and carried an instrument case that was decidedly not piano-sized. "Mr. Chen, I'm Elena Santos," she said with a warm smile, extending her hand. "I'm here for Lily's lesson." Michael shook her hand automatically while his brain tried to process what was wrong with this picture. "You're the music teacher?" "Yes, from the Community Arts Center. Your assistant called on Tuesday." Lily peeked around Michael's legs. "What's that?" she asked, pointing to the case. "This is a violin," Elena explained, kneeling to Lily's level. "I'm going to teach you how to play it." Michael's confusion deepened. There must be some mistake. "We were expecting a piano teacher from Berklee School of Music." Elena's smile faltered slightly. "Oh, your assistant specifically requested a violin teacher from our center. She mentioned you wanted an instructor who specializes in teaching children." An awkward silence filled the doorway, as Michael realized Rita had completely misunderstood his instructions. "Not Berklee School of Music, but the Community Arts Center. Not piano, but violin. Can I see it?" Lily asked, seemingly unfazed by the mix-up. Elena glanced at Michael, unsure how to proceed. "Perhaps I should come back another time once you've sorted this out with your assistant." Michael was about to agree when he noticed the sparkle in Lily's eyes as she stared at the violin case. It was the most interested she'd looked in anything musical since first asking for lessons. "Do you want to try the violin instead of piano?" he asked Lily. "Can I? It looks cool. Like what that lady played in the concert you took me to." Michael remembered the symphony performance from months ago. Lily had been mesmerized by the violinist. He hesitated, looking from his daughter's hopeful face to the teacher standing awkwardly at their door. Elena Santos didn't have the prestigious credentials he'd imagined, but she had arrived precisely on time, dressed professionally, and immediately connected with Lily. Plus, rescheduling would mean another delay in fulfilling his promise. "Would you like to come in, Ms. Santos?" Michael stepped back from the doorway. "I think we'll try violin lessons after all." Elena's smile returned. "Wonderful. And please call me Elena." As Elena sat up in their living room explaining the parts of the violin to a fascinated Lily, Michael stepped away to text Rita about the mix-up. But watching his daughter's excitement as she carefully held the tiny rental violin Elena had brought, he couldn't bring himself to be upset about the confusion. Sometimes mistakes turned out better than plans. It was a lesson Michael rarely applied to his meticulously organized life. But seeing Lily beam with pride as she drew the bow across the strings for the first time, producing something that resembled a dying cat more than music, he wondered if this particular mistake might be exactly what they both needed. 2 weeks had passed since Elena's first visit, and the Chen household had settled into a new Thursday routine. Michael found himself leaving work early on lesson days, telling himself it was to check on Lily's progress, but secretly enjoying the brief escape from endless meetings. Today, he arrived home just as Lily was finishing her homework at the dining table. She looked up and grinned. "You're home early again. Ms. Elena will be here in 20 minutes. Michael hung his jacket in the closet. "How's that science test looking?" "I think I'm ready." Lily closed her textbook. "Can I practice a little before she gets here?" "Go ahead, but remember what Ms. Elena said about your wrist position." Michael smiled as Lily carefully took out her rental violin from its case. The instrument seemed too fragile for his energetic daughter, but Elena had assured him it was the right size for a beginner her age. Lily positioned it under her chin with a look of intense concentration that reminded Michael of her mother. As Lily practiced the simple scale Elena had taught her last week, Michael prepared a snack tray. He'd noticed Elena often came straight from another teaching job, sometimes looking tired and hungry. Without making a big deal of it, he'd started leaving out fruit cheese and crackers during their lessons. The doorbell rang at exactly 4:30. Elena was never late, something Michael appreciated as a man who lived by his calendar. "Hi, Miss Elena." Lily rushed to open the door, violin still in hand. "Careful with that instrument, Lily," Elena laughed, stepping inside. "Hello, Mr. Chen." "Michael, please," he reminded her for the third time. "Mr. Chen makes me feel like my father." Elena nodded, setting down her bag. Her curly hair was windblown, and she looked more tired than usual. "Michael it is, then." As Lily launched into showing Elena what she'd practiced, Michael retreated to the kitchen, laptop open but attention divided. He found himself listening more to the lesson than focusing on work emails. "That's really good progress, Lily." Elena's voice carried a genuine enthusiasm that made Michael smile. "You've been practicing." "Every day," Lily announced proudly. "Dad even said it's starting to sound less like a dying animal." Michael winced as Elena laughed. "Did he now?" "It was meant as a compliment," he called from the kitchen, earning another laugh. The lesson continued with Elena guiding Lily through a simple melody. Michael was amazed at how patient the teacher was, never showing frustration when Lily struggled with the same passage multiple times. Halfway through the hour, Elena had Lily take a short break to rest her arms. She wandered into the kitchen and gratefully took a glass of water and some crackers and cheese that Michael offered. "She's doing remarkably well," Elena said quietly. "Most kids her age get frustrated much faster." "She's stubborn like her mom was," Michael replied, surprising himself with the personal comment. Elena nodded but didn't pry. Instead, she said, "I noticed she has a photo of a woman by her bed. She told me a little about her mother last week." Michael felt the familiar tightness in his chest whenever Waylon came up in conversation. "It's been 3 years, but some days it feels like yesterday." "Grief doesn't follow a timetable," Elena said simply. She glanced toward Lily, who was stretching her fingers in the living room. She mentioned her mom played music, piano mostly. Waylon always wanted Lily to learn when she was old enough. Michael smiled faintly. "That's why I initially wanted piano lessons, but I think the violin is actually a better fit." "Lily's making it her own thing." Elena's warm brown eyes met his with understanding. Sometimes the unexpected choices work out best. The moment was interrupted by Lily calling, "Ms. Elena, I'm ready to try again." After the lesson, Elena packed up while Michael signed the practice log she kept for all her students. "Next week we're going to start a real song," Elena told an excited Lily. "Something you might recognize. Can you give us a hint?" Lily begged. "Let's just say it involves twinkling stars." Elena winked. As Elena headed for the door, Michael noticed her checking the time with a slight frown. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Just bus timing," she said. "If I hurry, I can make the 5:45. Michael glanced out the window at the darkening sky and light rain. "I can have my driver drop you somewhere if you'd like." Elena looked tempted but shook her head. "That's very kind, but not necessary." "Dad, can Ms. Elena stay for dinner?" Lily piped up. Mrs. Wu made too much food again. Elena started to decline, but Michael found himself backing Lily's invitation. "We'd love the company, honestly. Unless you have other plans." Something in Elena's expression shifted, like she was making a quick calculation. "Actually, dinner would be nice. Thank you." Over Mrs. Wu's excellent chicken stir-fry, Michael learned that Elena taught at 3 different schools plus private lessons to make ends meet. Monday and Wednesday at Franklin Elementary, Tuesday at the Community Arts Center, and Friday at Westside Middle School, she explained. Plus private students like Lily on my off days. "That's a lot of juggling," Michael said, impressed. His own jam-packed schedule suddenly seemed less overwhelming. "It keeps me busy," Elena smiled. "But I love what I do." "Did you always want to be a music teacher?" Lily asked, reaching for seconds. "Not exactly. I wanted to play violin professionally with an orchestra." Elena's expression grew wistful. Life had other plans. Michael was about to ask more when Elena smoothly changed the subject, asking Lily about her science project. He recognized the deflection. He used the same technique when investors asked about his life outside work. After dinner, Lily insisted on showing Elena her bedroom, particularly proud of her solar system mobile. When they returned, Lily was explaining middle school drama with surprising openness. Bailey keeps saying I can't sit with her group at lunch because I don't have the right shoes, Lily confided. Michael frowned. This was the first he'd heard about any lunch table issues. That sounds tough, Elena said carefully. What do you think about that? Lily shrugged. It's stupid. They're just shoes. You're right, Elena nodded. When I was in middle school, someone told me I couldn't be friends with them because my clothes came from thrift stores. What did you do? Lily asked. I found friends who cared more about who I was than what I wore, Elena said. Sometimes the kids who focus on stuff like shoes are just insecure about other things. Michael watched the conversation with interest. He'd tried to have similar talks with Lily, but she usually brushed him off with, "You don't get it, Dad." As the evening wrapped up, Michael called his driver to take Elena home. Really, the bus is fine, she protested. It's pouring now. Michael pointed to the window where rain lashed against the glass. Please let me make sure you get home safely. Elena finally agreed. At the door, Lily gave her a spontaneous hug, which seemed to surprise and touch the teacher. See you next Thursday, Lily called as Elena headed for the elevator. After tucking Lily in, Michael returned to his home office, intending to catch up on work. Instead, he found himself thinking about Elena's comments on middle school social dynamics. It bothered him that Lily hadn't told him about the lunch table situation. What else was his daughter going through that he was missing? The next morning over breakfast, Michael tried a more direct approach. So about this Bailey and her shoe requirements. Lily nearly choked on her cereal. Ms. Elena told you? You told us both yesterday, remember? Michael kept his tone casual. Why didn't you mention it before? Lily pushed her spoon around the bowl. You're always busy or stressed about work. And it's not a big deal. Michael's heart sank. Lilybug, I'm never too busy for stuff that bothers you. You say that. But then your phone buzzes or you have to take a call. She wasn't accusatory, just matter of fact, which somehow hurt more. Michael set his coffee down. You're right, and I'm sorry. From now on, we have a new rule. Family dinner is a phone-free zone, and I want to hear one good thing and one tough thing about your day. Deal? Even if the tough thing seems small? Especially then. Lily considered this, then nodded. Deal. But same rules for you, Dad. One good thing and one tough thing. Fair enough, Michael agreed, realizing it had been a long time since he'd shared his own challenges with anyone, let alone his daughter. That evening at dinner, they tried their new system. Lily's tough thing was a pop quiz in math. Her good thing was making a new friend named Zoe who invited her to sit at a different lunch table. Your turn, Dad, Lily prompted. Michael thought for a moment. Tough thing. One of our products has a design flaw we need to fix before launch. Good thing. He paused, surprised by what came to mind first. Good thing was seeing how well you connected with Ms. Elena yesterday. She's good for you. Lily beamed. I like her. She doesn't treat me like a little kid. Later that night, Michael found himself looking at old photos of Wei Lin on his phone. You'd like her, he murmured to the smiling face on the screen. She's helping Lily find her voice, in more ways than one. Michael's phone buzzed for the 5th time in as many minutes. He silenced it with an apologetic glance toward the conference room full of board members. As I was saying, he continued, the product launch is scheduled for next month, and marketing has already... His phone lit up again, this time with Mrs. Wu's name. She never called during board meetings unless it was an emergency. Excuse me, I need to take this, he said, stepping out into the hallway. Mrs. Wu, is everything okay? Mr. Chen, I'm very sorry to bother you. Mrs. Wu's voice was strained. I've come down with a terrible flu. I tried to push through, but I have a high fever and I don't want Lily to catch it. Michael pressed his fingers against his temple. Of course you need to rest. Don't worry about us. I've prepared food for tonight, but someone needs to pick up Lily from school in 2 hours. I've already called the service you use for backup childcare, but they have no one available on such short notice. Michael glanced back at the boardroom, where 12 people were waiting to continue the most important meeting of the quarter. After that, he had back-to-back meetings until 7 p.m. I'll figure something out. Please take care of yourself, Mrs. Wu. He ended the call and quickly scrolled through his contacts. His parents lived on the other side of the country. Wei Lin's sister was traveling in Europe. His mind raced through options, each less feasible than the last. An idea struck him. Before he could overthink it, he found Elena's number in his contacts and pressed call. Hello, this is Elena Santos. Elena, it's Michael Chen, Lily's dad. He took a deep breath. I have a bit of an emergency. Our housekeeper is sick and I'm stuck in meetings. Would you possibly be available to pick up Lily from school today? I know it's completely outside your job description, but I'm desperate. There was a pause before Elena answered. What time does she need to be picked up? 2:30. I can have my driver take you there and back to our apartment. I should be home by 7, another pause. I have a class at the Community Arts Center at 6. Michael's hope deflated. I understand. I'll figure something. But, Elena continued, I could bring Lily with me to the center. It's a beginner violin group class. She might enjoy seeing other kids play. Relief flooded through him. That would be amazing. Are you sure it's not too much trouble? It's no trouble. Text me the school details and your driver's information. I can meet him in 30 minutes. Thank you, really. See you later, Michael. He hung up, noticing his racing heart had calmed. Quickly texting Elena the details, he returned to the boardroom with an apologetic smile. Sorry for the interruption. Now about those fourth quarter projections. At 7:15 p.m., Michael's car pulled up to the Community Arts Center, a converted warehouse with colorful murals decorating its exterior. Through the large windows, he could see a group of children with violins of various sizes, all focused on a woman at the front of the room. He slipped inside quietly, finding a seat in the back just as the children began playing a simple tune together. Some were clearly beginners, producing squeaky notes, while others played more confidently. In the middle of the group sat Lily, her face a mask of concentration as she carefully followed along. Elena moved around the circle, gently correcting a wrist position here, a finger placement there. Her teaching style was different with the group than in their private lessons, more energetic, with big gestures and occasional silly faces that made the children giggle while still staying on task. As the piece concluded, the room erupted in applause from parents seated around the edges. Elena noticed Michael and gave a small wave before addressing the class. Wonderful job, everyone. Remember to practice those first 8 measures for next week. Class dismissed! Children scattered to their waiting parents, chattering excitedly. Lily spotted Michael and ran over. Dad, did you hear us? We were playing Ode to Joy. I did hear. You sounded great, Michael said, genuinely impressed. Elena approached, violin case in hand. She jumped right in like she'd been part of the class all along. Thanks again for helping out today, Michael said. You really saved me. It was no problem. Elena smiled. Lily did her homework while I set up for class, and she even helped me tune some of the younger kids' instruments. As they walked toward the exit, a small boy with curly hair like Elena's came bounding up. Mom, did you see? I did the whole song without stopping. Michael blinked in surprise. Mom? I saw, Max. It was excellent. Elena ruffled the boy's hair. Max, this is Lily from my Thursday lessons and her dad, Mr. Chen. You can call me Michael, he said automatically, still processing this new information. Elena had a son. Why had he never considered that she might have a family of her own? Hi. Max waved cheerfully at Lily. You're really good for a beginner. Lily beamed at the compliment from the slightly younger boy. Thanks, how long have you been playing? Since I was 5, Max announced proudly. Mom's been teaching me forever. Max, can you please pack up your violin properly? We need to head home soon, Elena said. As Max ran off to comply, she turned to Michael. Sorry I didn't mention him before. It never came up naturally in our lessons. No need to apologize, Michael said quickly. He seems like a great kid. He is, though I might be biased, Elena laughed. I should help clean up before we go. Would you two like to wait, or? We can help, Lily offered before Michael could respond. Soon they were all stacking chairs, with Max showing Lily the proper way to store violins in the classroom cabinet. Michael found himself gathering sheet music alongside Elena. You have a beautiful teaching space here, he commented, looking around at the room with its high ceilings and wall of windows. The center's a special place, Elena agreed. They provide instruments and lessons for kids who can't afford them otherwise. That's how I started, as a scholarship student here years ago. Michael watched as she organized music with efficient movements. And now you teach here. Life comes full circle sometimes. She glanced at their children who were now comparing violin sizes. Max's father isn't in the picture, she added quietly. Hasn't been since before Max was born. I thought I should mention it since Lily talked about her mom with me. Michael nodded, appreciating her directness. Single parenting isn't easy. No, but we make it work, right? There was a strength in her voice that resonated with him. As they finished cleaning, Max tugged on Elena's sleeve. Mom, I'm hungry. We'll get dinner soon, buddy. Michael checked his watch. It's late and we've kept you long enough. Can I offer you both a ride home? Or maybe… He hesitated, then pushed forward. We could grab dinner together, as a thank you for today. Elena hesitated, and Michael immediately regretted the suggestion. They had a strictly professional relationship, and he'd probably just made things awkward. There's a pizza place around the corner that Max loves, Elena said finally. Nothing fancy, but they have great food. Pizza? Lily and Max exclaimed in unison. Decision made, they walked the short distance to Gino's Pizza, a cozy neighborhood restaurant with checked tablecloths and signed photos of local celebrities on the walls. The kids immediately hit it off, with Max explaining the finer points of violin fingering to an attentive Lily. Watching them, Michael commented, I think Lily's found her violin guru. Elena laughed. Max loves being the expert. He doesn't get many chances to show off his knowledge to other kids. Their conversation flowed more easily than Michael expected, ranging from childhood music memories to favorite books. He learned that Elena had studied at a prestigious music conservatory before having Max changed her plans. I switched to music education instead of performance, she explained between bites of pizza. More stable hours for a single parent? Do you miss performing? Michael asked. Sometimes. But teaching has its own rewards. She nodded toward the kids who were now drawing on the paper placemats. What about you? Did you always want to run a tech company? Michael considered the question. I always liked solving problems. My company started as a solution to a workflow issue I encountered at my first job. He smiled ruefully. Didn't anticipate it would take over my life quite so completely, though. That's the tricky part, isn't it? Balancing work that matters with everything else that matters. Their eyes met in shared understanding. And Michael felt an unexpected connection. This woman who came from such a different world somehow understood his daily struggle better than most of his executive friends. The evening ended with promises of a playdate between Lily and Max. As Michael's driver took them home, Lily chattered excitedly about her new friend. Max said their apartment has a tiny balcony with plants growing in old soup cans. Isn't that cool? And he's teaching himself guitar too. Not just violin. He's really smart, Dad. He seems like a nice kid, Michael agreed, wondering about the logistics of Elena raising a child in what sounded like a small apartment while juggling multiple teaching jobs. The following week brought a major crisis at work. A security flaw was discovered in their flagship product just days before launch. Michael spent 3 days practically living in the office, subsisting on vending machine snacks and catnaps on his office couch. By Thursday, the crisis had been contained, but Michael was exhausted. He'd completely forgotten about Lily's violin lesson until his phone reminder went off 15 minutes before. He rushed home, disheveled and apologetic. Elena was already there, having been let in by Mrs. Wu, who had recovered from her flu. Sorry, work emergency, he explained, loosening his tie. Elena nodded understandingly. Lily mentioned you've been busy. We were just getting started. The lesson proceeded normally, but Michael could feel himself zoning out from sheer fatigue. During Lily's bathroom break, Elena studied him with concern. When was the last time you slept properly? Monday, maybe Sunday? He rubbed his eyes. It's been a long week. You should rest. Lily and I can finish the lesson. She knows what to practice. Michael wanted to protest but couldn't find the energy. You're probably right. He retreated to his bedroom, intending to lie down for just a minute. When he woke, the apartment was quiet. Disoriented, he checked his watch. 7:30 p.m. He'd been asleep for almost 3 hours. In the kitchen, he found a note in Lily's handwriting. Dad, Ms. Elena said not to wake you. I finished my lesson and did my homework. Mrs. Wu left dinner in the fridge. Love, Lily. Michael found his daughter in her room, carefully practicing her violin. Hey, Lilybug. Sorry I crashed like that. She lowered the violin. Miss Elena said your brain needed a reset. Like when my tablet freezes and we have to turn it off and on again. Michael chuckled. Smart lady. She said grown-ups forget to take care of themselves sometimes. Lily gave him a serious look. You need to take better care of yourself, Dad. Hearing his daughter echo Elena's words with such conviction made Michael pause. When had his 11-year-old started worrying about him instead of the other way around? "You're right," he said finally. "I'll try to do better." Later, as he heated up the dinner Mrs. Wu had prepared, Michael sent Elena a text. "Thanks for today, both for the lesson and for letting me get some much-needed sleep." Her reply came quickly. "Everyone needs help sometimes, even CEOs." Michael smiled at the gentle teasing in her message. For the first time in years, he felt like someone saw him as more than just Lily's dad or the boss. Someone who saw Michael the person, flaws and exhaustion included. Michael glanced at his watch, frowning at the time. Elena was 20 minutes late for Lily's lesson, something that had never happened before. He'd already tried calling twice, but the calls went straight to voicemail. "Dad, where's Miss Elena?" Lily asked, violin already unpacked and ready. "I'm not sure, sweetheart." He checked his phone again. No messages. Maybe she's stuck in traffic. Lily's face fell. "But she's never late. And I really wanted to show her the new part I figured out." "I know." Michael squeezed her shoulder. "Let's give her a few more minutes." By the half-hour mark, Michael was genuinely concerned. Elena was meticulously punctual, and it wasn't like her to miss a lesson without notice. He tried her number again without success. "How about we try practicing what she taught you last time?" he suggested to a disappointed Lily. "Then if she comes, you can show her your progress." Lily nodded glumly and began playing, but her heart wasn't in it. After a few minutes, she put the violin down. "Dad, what if something happened to her? What if she's hurt or something?" The thought had crossed Michael's mind too. "I'm sure she's fine, but you know what? Let's check just to be sure." Michael hesitated, then pulled up the contact information Rita had initially gathered on Elena. There was a home address listed, an apartment building in the West Side neighborhood. He debated the appropriateness of showing up at her home unannounced, but decided Lily's worry, and if he was honest, his own, justified at least checking. "Want to take a little drive?" he asked Lily. Her face brightened immediately. "To Ms. Elena's house? Can we bring Max a cookie? Mrs. Wu made chocolate chip ones yesterday." 20 minutes later, they pulled up outside a modest apartment complex. The building was older but well-maintained, with small balconies adorned with plants and bicycles. "It's apartment 307, Michael told Lily as they walked through the main entrance. The elevator was out of order, so they climbed the stairs to the third floor. Outside apartment 307, Michael hesitated before knocking. What if she was simply busy and had forgotten their lesson? Or what if she had a personal emergency and didn't need her students showing up at her door? Before he could reconsider, Lily knocked firmly. There was a shuffling sound inside, then a child's voice. "Max," called. "Who is it?" "It's Lily and my dad, from violin lessons." More shuffling, then the door opened slightly, the chain still attached. Max peered through the gap, looking unusually serious for an 8-year-old. "Mom's sick," he said. "She can't come to the door." Michael immediately shifted to concerned parent mode. "Is there another adult with you, Max?" The boy shook his head. "Mom said she just needs to sleep. She was going to call you but fell asleep with her phone." Michael and Lily exchanged worried glances. "Max, can we come in and check on your mom? We're concerned about her." Max considered this, then nodded. "She said not to open the door for strangers." "But you're not strangers." He closed the door to undo the chain, then opened it fully. The apartment was small but tidy, with a combined living and dining area, a tiny kitchen, and 2 doors that presumably led to bedrooms. Sheet music and children's books were neatly organized on bookshelves that lined one wall. Several instruments, violins, a guitar, and a small keyboard, occupied another corner. "Mom's in there." Max pointed to one of the doors. "She has a really bad headache and kept throwing up this morning." Michael approached the bedroom door and knocked softly. "Elena, it's Michael Chen. Lily and I were worried when you missed the lesson." A weak voice answered. "Michael, I'm so sorry about the lesson. I meant to call to..." "Don't worry about that. Are you okay?" "Just a migraine. I get them sometimes. I'll be fine tomorrow." Michael exchanged looks with Lily, who was frowning with concern. "Is there anything we can do? Do you need medicine or food?" There was a pause before Elena answered. "I took my prescription earlier. Just need to sleep it off." Michael was about to leave it at that when Max tugged at his sleeve. "The medicine's all gone," the boy whispered. "She took the last pill this morning. She said we'd get more tomorrow." Michael made a quick decision. Elena, we're going to help out a bit, okay? Get some rest. Don't worry about Max, Lily can keep him company. When there was no protest from the bedroom, Michael turned to the children. Lily, why don't you and Max hang out in the living room? Maybe you could show each other what you've been practicing? The kids nodded eagerly, and soon the soft sounds of violin music filled the apartment. Michael slipped into the tiny kitchen and took stock. The refrigerator was modestly stocked, but there were enough ingredients to make a simple soup. First, though, he needed to handle the medication situation. Max, he called softly, do you know the name of your mom's migraine medicine? Max nodded and retrieved an empty prescription bottle from a drawer. Michael took a photo of the label with his phone, then made a quick call to his own doctor, who agreed to call in a refill to the nearest pharmacy as a professional courtesy. While Lily and Max played quietly, Michael headed out to pick up the medication and a few groceries. The pharmacy was only a few blocks away, and he returned within 20 minutes. Back at the apartment, he knocked gently on Elena's door again. I've got your medication, he said. The door opened slightly, revealing Elena in pajamas, her face pale and drawn. She squinted against even the dim light of the hallway. How did you? She looked confused. Dr. Friend called it in. Max told us you were out. Michael handed her the bag with the pills and a bottle of water. I hope that's okay. Elena took the medication with shaking hands. Thank you. I can't even tell you. She swallowed a pill with some water. No need to explain. Get some rest. I'm making soup and the kids are fine. A look of concern crossed her face. Max is having a great time with Lily, don't worry. Relief and gratitude filled her eyes before she closed the door again. Michael returned to the kitchen, where he found a pot and began preparing a simple chicken soup. He wasn't the most skilled cook, but soup was manageable. In the living room, Lily and Max had moved on from violins to a board game. Their laughter made him smile. Lily didn't have many close friends, and it was good to see her connecting with someone. As he chopped vegetables, he glanced around the small apartment. Unlike his minimalist penthouse with its expensive furniture and art, Elena's home was modest but warm. Family photos lined the walls, interspersed with children's artwork. A bookshelf overflowed with well-loved books and music scores. It reminded him of the home he'd grown up in, before success had afforded him luxury. The soup was simmering when he noticed a pile of mail on the counter. He wasn't trying to snoop, but couldn't help seeing a past-due notice from the electric company peeking out from between flyers. Next to it was a letter from Max's school about an upcoming field trip, with the payment portion still uncompleted. Michael felt a twinge in his chest. He knew teachers' salaries were modest, but seeing tangible evidence of Elena's financial struggles made it real in a way statistics never could. Here was a woman with obvious talent and education, working multiple jobs to support her son, still struggling to keep up with bills. He was pulled from these thoughts by Max's voice. Is the soup ready? I'm hungry. Almost, Michael smiled. Another 10 minutes. Why don't you and Lily set the table? The kids eagerly arranged bowls and spoons on the small dining table. When the soup was ready, Michael ladled portions for them, then prepared a tray with a bowl for Elena. He knocked softly on her door again. Soup's ready if you feel up to eating. The door opened wider this time. Elena had some color back in her face, though she still looked exhausted. That smells amazing. Family recipe, Michael fibbed, setting the tray on her nightstand. Well, boxed broth with whatever vegetables I found in your fridge, but the sentiment is there. That earned a small smile. You didn't have to do all this. I wanted to help. He paused. How's the head? Better now that the medication is kicking in. She sat on the edge of the bed. I can't believe you went and got my prescription. It was no trouble. Michael hesitated, then added, We were worried when you didn't show up. Lily was afraid something had happened to you. Elena looked touched. I'm sorry for worrying you both. These migraines don't hit often, but when they do, they're debilitating. Do you usually manage alone? Max is good at helping. He's had to grow up fast. A shadow crossed her face. But yes, usually it's just us. Michael nodded, understanding the unspoken weight of those words. Being the only adult responsible for a child was terrifying sometimes. There was no backup. No one to step in when you were down. Well, today you had backup, he said simply. Their eyes met, and something passed between them. Recognition, gratitude, connection. Michael felt suddenly self-conscious. "You should eat while it's hot," he said, gesturing to the soup. "The kids and I will clean up before we go. Thank you, Michael, for everything." Back in the main room, Michael and the children ate soup while Max told stories about his school adventures. After dinner, they washed the dishes together, leaving the kitchen cleaner than they'd found it. Michael packed extra soup in containers for later, then checked the time. "We should head out and let your mom rest, Max." The boy looked suddenly anxious. "But what if she needs something else?" "How about this?" Michael suggested. "I'll leave my number on the counter. If either of you need anything tonight, you call me. I can be back here in 20 minutes. Max considered this seriously, then nodded. Michael knelt to the boy's level. "Will you be okay for the evening? I can stay longer if you're worried." "I'll be okay," Max said with the resilience of a child who had shouldered responsibility before. "Mom says I'm the man of the house." "You're doing a great job," Michael assured him, feeling a renewed respect for both Max and Elena. Before leaving, Michael knocked one last time on Elena's door to say goodbye. She was sitting up in bed, the empty soup bowl on her lap. "We're heading out," he said. "I've left my number for Max and told him to call if you need anything at all." Elena nodded gratefully. "I don't know how to thank you." "No thanks needed. That's what friends are for, right?" The word friends hung in the air between them, carrying more weight than it might have a few weeks ago. "Right," Elena agreed softly. "Friends." As they drove home, Lily was unusually quiet, looking thoughtfully out the window. "Everything okay, Lilybug?" Michael asked. "Max's home is really different from ours," she said finally. "Yes, it is. But it feels—" She searched for the right word. "Happy. Like people actually live there." Michael considered her observation. Their penthouse was stylish and impressive, but it lacked the lived-in warmth of Elena's modest apartment. "Do you think our home doesn't feel happy?" he asked carefully. Lily shrugged. "It's nice and everything, but sometimes it feels like a hotel. Like we're just staying there, not really living." Her words hit Michael with unexpected force. When had his child become so perceptive? And more importantly, when had their home stopped feeling like a home? "Maybe we should change that," he said quietly. "Can we get plants for the balcony like Max has?" Lily asked hopefully. "And put my drawings on the fridge instead of filing them away?" Michael smiled, reaching over to squeeze her hand. "I think that sounds like a great start." 6 months had passed since that first violin lesson when Elena Santos accidentally became Lily's teacher. The Chen penthouse had undergone subtle but significant changes during that time. Colorful plants now adorned the balcony. Lily's artwork decorated the refrigerator, and family photos, old ones of Wei Lin and new ones from recent months, hung on walls that had previously featured only abstract art. Michael adjusted his tie in the hallway mirror, feeling unusually nervous. "Are you ready, Lilybug? We don't want to be late." "Coming!" Lily called, emerging from her room in a blue dress, her violin case clutched tightly in her hand. "How do I look?" "Beautiful," Michael smiled. "Are you nervous?" Lily nodded, taking a deep breath. "A little. Ms. Elena says some nerves are good. It means we care about doing well." "She's right about that," Michael said, checking his watch. "Our driver's waiting downstairs." Today was the Community Arts Center's spring recital, where both Lily and Max would be performing. In the 6 months of lessons, Lily had progressed from squeaky scales to simple melodies, finally advancing enough to participate in the recital with other beginners. As they rode to the art center, Michael thought about how much had changed since Elena accidentally entered their lives. Lily was more confident, not just in music but in school and with friends. He'd made changes too, implementing a 4-day work-week policy at his company, inspired partly by seeing how Elena and other working parents struggled with rigid schedules. The arts center was buzzing with activity when they arrived. Parents adjusted children's outfits while young musicians of varying ages warmed up their instruments, creating a cheerful cacophony. "Dad, there's Max." Lily pointed across the room where Max was rosining his bow, Elena kneeling beside him in a simple but elegant green dress, different from her usual teaching attire. When she spotted them, Elena waved and made her way over, weaving through the crowd. "You made it!" "Lily, you look lovely. Ready for your big debut?" "I think so," Lily said with determination. "I practiced every day this week." "I know you did," Elena smiled. "That's why you'll do wonderfully." All the beginners are gathering backstage in 5 minutes for a quick run-through. As Lily headed off with the other young performers, Elena turned to Michael. Thank you for all your support with this recital. I know how busy you are. I wouldn't miss it, Michael said sincerely. Besides, I've cleared my schedule for the whole afternoon. Elena looked surprised. The whole afternoon? That must be a first. Things change, he shrugged. Priorities change. Before Elena could respond, a harried-looking man approached her. Elena, the sound system is acting up again. Can you help? You're the only one who knows how to fix it. Duty calls, she sighed. I'll see you after the performance, Michael. Your seat is reserved in the front row. As she hurried away, Michael found his seat among the other parents. He'd come to know many of them over the past months, especially after he'd started volunteering at the center, using his tech skills to update their ancient computer systems and fundraising platforms. The recital began with the youngest students, tiny children with quarter-sized violins playing simple tunes. Parents beamed and recorded videos on their phones as each group performed. When Lily's beginner group took the stage, Michael sat up straighter, scanning the line for his daughter. There she was, fifth from the left, standing tall with her violin tucked properly under her chin. The group played Ode to Joy, the same piece he'd heard them practicing months ago. Now, instead of a cacophony of mismatched notes, they produced a reasonably harmonious rendition that brought proud smiles to every parent's face. Michael watched Lily, noticing how she bit her lip in concentration during the tricky parts, just like her mother used to do. His chest tightened with both pride and a bittersweet ache, wishing Waylene could see their daughter now. After the beginners, the intermediate students performed, including Max, who played a solo piece that demonstrated his natural talent. Michael applauded enthusiastically, feeling almost as proud of Max as he was of Lily. The recital concluded with an unexpected addition, a teacher's quartet featuring Elena on first violin. As she played, Michael was mesmerized. He'd never heard her perform before, only teach. The passion and skill in her playing revealed the professional musician she might have been in another life. After the performance, the Arts Center lobby filled with excited families congratulating young musicians. Michael found Lily surrounded by her beginner classmates, all comparing notes on their performance. You were amazing, he told her, pulling her into a hug. Really? I messed up the middle part a little, Lily admitted. Nobody noticed, Michael assured her. The whole group sounded wonderful. Max bounded over, still carrying his violin. Did you hear my solo, Mr. Chen? I only missed 2 notes. I did hear it. You were fantastic, Max. Mom's been helping me practice every night. Even when she's super tired from teaching, Max said proudly. Speaking of Elena, Michael spotted her across the room, deep in conversation with an older man in an expensive suit. She looked serious, nodding occasionally at whatever he was saying. Who's that with Ms. Elena? Lily asked, following his gaze. I'm not sure, Michael replied, curious himself. They didn't have to wonder long. Elena soon approached with the man beside her. Michael, Lily, Max, I'd like you to meet Dr. Thomas from the City Symphony. He was kind enough to attend our recital today. The distinguished older man shook Michael's hand. Pleasure to meet you. Your daughter shows promise. Thank you, Michael said, surprised at the assessment from someone who clearly knew music. She's only been playing 6 months. Dr. Thomas raised his eyebrows. Impressive progress for such a short time. He turned to Elena. Consider what I said. Miss Santos, the symphony needs dedicated teachers for our youth program, and someone with your talent for bringing out the best in young musicians is exactly what we're looking for. Full-time position, benefits, much better salary than cobbling together part-time teaching jobs. Michael felt a strange sinking sensation as he realized what was happening. After Dr. Thomas departed, Elena looked slightly dazed. He wants me to interview for the symphony's education director position, she explained. It would mean teaching at their academy, overseeing youth programs. Elena, that's amazing, Michael said, pushing aside his selfish concerns. You deserve this opportunity, she nodded slowly. It would be steady hours, one location instead of racing across town between schools, health insurance. And we'd have to find a new violin teacher, Lily said quietly. The reality of what this change would mean hung in the air between them. Before anyone could say more, the Arts Center director announced that refreshments were being served in the courtyard. As the children ran ahead toward the promise of cookies, Michael and Elena followed more slowly. What are you thinking? Michael asked, noticing her thoughtful expression. I'm thinking that 6 months ago I accidentally showed up at your door with a violin instead of a piano, and somehow that mistake changed everything. She smiled softly. I never expected to find friends who would pick up my migraine medication or make soup when I was sick. And I never expected to be volunteering at a community arts center or leaving work early for violin recitals. Michael added, Life takes unexpected turns. They reached the courtyard where Lily and Max were already comparing cookies and chatting with other kids. Look at them, Elena said. From strangers to inseparable in half a year. Michael watched the children, then turned to Elena. You know, if you take the symphony position, it doesn't have to change everything. Lily would understand if you couldn't be her teacher anymore. But, Elena prompted, hearing the unspoken word in his tone. But I'd miss our Thursday afternoons, he admitted. They've become the highlight of my week. Elena's eyes softened. Mine too. Michael gathered his courage. Maybe we could still see each other on Thursdays. Not for lessons, but maybe dinner? All four of us? Like a standing family dinner? Elena asked. The word family hung between them, full of meaning and possibility. Yes, Michael said. Exactly like that. Elena smiled, a mix of uncertainty and hope in her expression. I'd like that. And I think the kids would too. As if on cue, Lily and Max ran back to them, cookies in hand. Dad! Miss Elena! Can we go to the park after this? Max wants to show me how to climb the big tree, and I want to show him how to make those leaf boats like we did at Grandma's house. Michael looked at Elena, who nodded. The park sounds perfect. Later, as the afternoon sun filtered through the trees, Michael sat on a bench watching Lily and Max racing paper boats in the park's small stream. Beside him, Elena pointed out the improvement in Lily's confidence since that first lesson. She doesn't second-guess herself as much, Elena observed. She tries things now even when she's not sure she'll succeed. I've noticed that too, Michael agreed. You've been good for her, Elena. For both of us, really. Elena's hand rested on the bench between them. After a moment's hesitation, Michael placed his hand over hers. She turned to look at him, a question in her eyes. I've been thinking, he said carefully, about mistakes and accidents and wrong turns that end up taking you exactly where you need to go. Like hiring the wrong music teacher? Elena smiled. Exactly like that. Michael squeezed her hand gently. I think it was the best mistake I ever made. In the golden afternoon light, with the sound of children's laughter floating across the park, Michael felt something he hadn't experienced in years. A sense of rightness, of pieces falling into place. His life had become compartmentalized after Wei Lin's death. Work in one box, parenting in another. Grief in a third. Never mixing, never whole. Somehow, in the past 6 months, those walls had begun to crumble. As Elena's fingers intertwined with his, Michael thought about second chances and new beginnings. About how sometimes life's wrong turns lead you exactly where you need to be. So what happens next? Elena asked softly. Michael watched their children playing together, then turned back to her with a smile. I'm not sure exactly, but I think we figure it out together, one day at a time. Elena nodded, her expression mirroring his hope and certainty. I'd like that very much, and in that moment, with the afternoon sun warming their shoulders and the sound of Lily and Max laughing in the background, Michael knew that what had begun as a simple hiring mistake had blossomed into something beautiful and unexpected. A second chance at family, at wholeness, at harmony.